All right, guys. So, welcome back to Endeavorosity. As you might note from the outside, you'll notice that it's winter outside here in Illinois, and we had like 9 to 12 inches in the area. So, what better time is seeing how Endeavorosity is coming up to our end of our first trimester to be able to design a Christmas ornament. I was seeing that like 90% of people put up trees over the holidays. And so I thought, what a cool little thing to be able to do. You can give the ornament to somebody, make it personalized for somebody, or you can just make something cool to hang on the tree yourself. Now, there's going to be a couple rules that I'm going to explain as we go through here so that your ornament can be printed in more than one color, because there's something that I'll need to do with that STL once I get it. So I'm going to show you step by step how to be able to make an ornament. And then you can send it to me the normal way through email to be able to do that STL. And I'll hopefully get it to you by the end of the break so that you guys can send it on and hang it from your tree. All right, so let me go ahead and give you these instructions. Let me share my screen with you, and I think you'll enjoy this a lot. We'll start off by doing create a 3D design. And a few rules that are going to be really important. Number one, we are going to try to make these ornaments 1/4 of an inch tall. Now, it might be a little bit taller than that, but the first rule that's going to be really important is we're going to take this and we're going to put a cylinder. This cylinder has got to be, this is our base for this. So this is our circular base that we're going to make at the bottom. And we're going to make this at a very specific height. And you'll notice that it says here, since we're going to make this, we want to make this 2.5 inches wide, which is plenty big enough, which is about 63.5 millimeters. All right, so I'm going to stretch this out to 60. Actually, let me just do it this way. We'll do 63.5, 63.5, hit enter, okay? And then you'll notice that both of the, that this is a cylinder, so it's changed both parts of it. And then we are going to fix our height. We do not want our height to be 63. We want our height to be only 3.18 millimeters. That's going to be the height of our cylinder. So you see, this is going to be the base for this. Now, we're going to do a few things with this. So we've got a quarter, it's an 1/8 of an inch thick ornament. Okay, so I can show you the thickness. There's the thickness, and it's going to be 1/4 inch or 2.5 inches in diameter, which is 63.5 millimeters. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add our text, which is where I think you can learn something that I learned that was kind of cool in here. And we're going to go over here to basic shapes. You're going to click on this and you're going to go straight to the bottom where it says shape generators. I'm going to click on that. This is going to take a second to load here, but you'll notice this right here is arch text or curved text. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to drop this right here, right on this. Now, to be able to make it arch a little bit more, we can actually switch the arch so it arches a little more because our shape is a little bigger. So you can play with it here, or I found that you can actually drag this out as well. So if I want to make this dragged out as well, I can pull it out. Okay, I can pull it this way, just grab one corner, I can hold shift and drag both corners. So I'm going to put that right here. And if you celebrate Christmas, which some of you do, you can write Merry Christmas. So I'm gonna do that. So we'll click back on the cylinder there, but I'm gonna click on here, and you'll notice right here for the curved words, it gives you an option of whatever you want to write. So I'm just gonna write down Merry Christmas. I know some of you celebrate other holidays, or maybe you want to do this for someone's birthday, or maybe you want to add a different text, whatever is appropriate, whatever you'd like to do, go ahead and do that and press enter. And you'll notice that this is going to switch to Merry Christmas. All right. Let's see if we switch this a little bit, the point size, it might give us a little bit thicker of a text here. Up to 20. There we go. So now we've got that, and we don't want to be too close to the edge, so maybe we'll move it up a little bit right there. There we go. All right. So now if I wanted to line this up perfectly, you've worked on alignment tools already. So I could take this, highlight our center. We group them together by holding shift down and clicking on each one of them. And then I can align this right here to the middle using this alignment tool. And now they're centered perfectly. Now you'll notice this is kind of, there's a couple ways you could do this. You could do this text and you could make it sunken within it, which means that you'd be making kind of a hole. And I'll show you the side here. zoom in here. And I'll select this. Now you'll notice it's very, very thin text. Now I could just take this text and I could raise it up this way if I wanted to, but you'll notice it's pretty thin. You can see the whole thickness of it right there. And so we want this to be in contact with our plate, but we're going to switch the height of it. And the height, I'm going to make our height. Um, let's make that another 3.18 inches, or yeah, let's go ahead and just do 3.18. That means it's going to be just as tall as the actual base of it here. Now I'm going to make this actually sunk in, so I'm going to pull this down a little bit. So it's -1. You can see I pulled it down -1. So -1 millimeter, that is. So it's sticking out a good amount right there. All right, so that'll be really important. I'm going to pull back out, center this, and I'm just going to press this to center the whole shape. All right, and there you have Merry Christmas written right there. Once again, you can write whatever you'd like. Now, a couple things that are going to be important here. I'm actually going to take this and I'm going to rotate this a little bit. And the reason I'm going to rotate this is because I'm going to want a hole in the top. Since this is going to need something to hang on a tree, I'm going to rotate this shape and I'm going to pull it off to the side here. You'll notice it still says Merry Christmas, and I actually might want to rotate that just a little more. Once again, this little tool right here makes it really convenient to rotate, and then I can place this in place. Now, oh, I'm actually moving the base of that right there. All right. So there we go. Now, once again, make sure that your measurements are correct. Double check your measurements. So I've got this and it's sticking out. I can join that if I'd like, but I'm not going to. I'm going to press that. And then now I'm going to take this. I'm actually going to make another one. I'm going to put this here, and I'm going to actually write on this one. Oh, you know what? I'm going to undo that. Control Z. I'm going to put it actually on top of this. It's helpful to actually work on top so it starts on top. It's easier to grab. I'm going to move this here, and then I'm going to move this. Let me see if I can select this where oh, having a little bit of trouble grabbing things here, folks. I'm going to move this down here. Once again, I'm going to change the arc of it by, but let me write what I'm going to write down. I'm going to say from Mr. Reed. Hit enter, and it'll take a second, and then it'll show up for us there. And then I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. Change the arc. You can play around with that a little bit, change the shape of it, or you can play with the arc by just doing something like that. Okay, and I'm going to put that on this side over here. So again, I want to make this kind of fit. So I can kind of do this by feel this way from Mr. Reed right there. Now, I'm going to come down. I'm going to look at it from the side. You'll notice that it's not tall enough yet. So I want to make that shape taller. And I'm going to make it, what did I make the last one? 3.18. 3.18. Hit enter, and now it's raised up. And then once again, just like before, I'm going to lower it 1 millimeter. So I'm just going to type in 1 here because that's what we lowered the other one down to. I'm going to pull it down. All right. So now it's about the same height as the other one. You'll notice that it's raised. It's raised. If I wanted to take that and I wanted to make that sunk in, I can take that, click on it, and I could make it a hole. And that hole is actually going to cut into the shape, which will be kind of cool. All right. So I'm going to make that a hole. I'm just going to leave it a hole. Once I join those, you'll notice that it'll be actually be indented, which is a cool little feature there. Now, let's say I wanted to make something. Oh, I forgot something really important because I need to make sure I've centered myself. I'm going to go away from shape generators. I'm going to go to basic shapes, and I'm going to make myself another hole. I'm going to put this right here, but I got to make this nice and small. Okay. So I'm going to make this a small hole. And so we can run a string through it and hang it. All right. Now I did not make that a very good hole. And I'm going to put this here. I'm going to actually shrink the size of it because I don't need that tall of a hole. Shrink it down. And then I'm going to lower it down so that it's going to actually cut all the way through. If you want to check and see if it's going to cut through, I can see it goes right down to the bottom. You can see it kind of goes down through the bottom right here. Okay, you can see that. So you just lower it down using that tool. All right. So now I've got all of those pieces set. I can actually take these, I can select all of them like this, and then I can just press Union Group, and bang, you'll see exactly what it's going to look like at the end. Now, the cool thing is that these letters are going to be raised, and if you keep to these, to the rules about how high they're supposed to be, I can make them into a different color, which would be really cool. I'll actually show you the finished design afterwards, so you can see what it looks like. But this is the basic shape. Now, if I wanted to do something like, let's say I wanted to add a Christmas tree. I can literally either make the pieces myself, little triangles or something like that, and put the pieces in, which would be really clever, or I can just write down Christmas. And I can see, oh, there's different shapes. There's different trees. Now, if you're going to add a tree, like let's say you put this tree in, it's important to recall that this is going to add it straight up and down. So everyone take a look at this. That's straight up and down. I am not going to print that. If you send me something like that, I will not print that. That is not how you make that. So number one, you would want to rotate this so it's laying flat. All right. So let's center this. All right. I'm going to rotate this shape so it would be lying down flat. I would have to pull it down. I would have to resize it. Let me see if I can rotate this again. Let's see, I'm going to go from a top view here. I'm going to rotate this again, just like this. And then I'm going to have to resize it, hold shift, and pull it in like this. And then I can take this and I can just say something, I can just do something like this and then line them up and line them up in the middle. And then there you go. You can have that lined up in the middle just like that. Okay. And the one thing you're going to want to check is that you're going to want to make sure it's not too tall, because if it's really tall, I'm not going to print it for you. So you'll notice that it's like below the surface, which of course I won't print. So one thing you can do is you can cut that shape down to size by now, like we said with the ship, it doesn't quite matter exactly where it's placed. We just want it to be someplace that's going to cover the entire shape. I'm going to put it right there. I'm going to join these. I'm going to select all of them and I'm going to join them, which means that now our Christmas tree will be cut in half, or it should be. Let's take a look at, did we do it? Yep, we cut it in half. Awesome. So the tree is cut in half. We can raise it up a little bit if we want to. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to raise it up just a touch. Okay. And then I'm going to unhide my other element. And you'll notice there's the tree. It's right there in place. All right. So when I go to print this, I would once again select all of it. And then I would join them together. And it would be one shape. Okay. So this is now one big shape. The tree and the Merry Christmas and the sunken in from Mr. Reed. All right. So that's one option that you can do. Another option is I'm going to unjoin these, just select the tree. I'm going to delete that off. And another thing that you can do is a snowflake, which is really pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and just search my shapes library, and I'm going to write down snowflake. And you'll notice there's different designs on here. I'm just going to take this one. I'm going to pull it over here. It's a really cool looking design. I'm going to hold shift down so it shrinks the same size. And I'm going to put this right in the middle. I'm going to try and stretch it the whole distance. Now, once again, size is going to be important. So I'm going to look at this from the side. It looks like it's looking pretty good here. I'm going to lower it down just a bit so it's more even with my text. Okay, and I'm going to pull in. It looks like it's a little bit shallower than the text, so let me just pull it up just a little bit. Okay, that might be raised. So I'm going to press Control. I'm going to take a look at it from here. Awesome. So maybe I want this a little bit more centered. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to select the outside shape. I'm going to press this button. And I'm going to say, okay, I want it centered here and I want it centered here. And then that really centers our text. So there you've got another shape. So you can do this with any number of different shapes that you'd like. You are going to be able to send me one unless we get to a place where I've gotten ahead and where I can print up more because I don't want to overcommit myself. But if this is something you'd like to work on, I think you can learn some really cool things when doing this, and put into practice some of the things that you've learned, so you can make this. And of course, I would do export as STL. I've got it saved right here. It's actually, once again, it's best if I change the name of this. Please change the name. Mr. Reed's Ornament. And then there, now we've got an actual name saved so that I can look that up. All right, so it'll say that, and we're going to go ahead and print that and see how that looks out. Hopefully, you guys have learned something today. And in the upcoming days, I start getting emails from you guys about what you are creating and that I can keep on printing some stuff because I think we've learned a tremendous amount. All right, happy building.